Create for STEM Institute is a joint institute between the College of Natural Science and the College of Education to improve the teaching and learning of science and mathematics K through 16. Right now, we're in a very exciting time in science education. With the release of the next generation of science standards and the framework for K-12 science education, there's inspiration with teachers not only in the state of Michigan, but throughout our nation, really to improve what happens in our classrooms.
I really wanted to do this kind of integrated work, and this institute has given me the opportunity to work with colleagues in science education and in the natural sciences, and for all of us to work together to develop the kind of curriculum that we really think should be happening in schools. And also from a research perspective, it's really the kind of cutting-edge research that we need to give kids the kind of education that they need right now.
Create for STEM is intimately involved in promoting the next generation of science standards, both within the state of Michigan, but also nationwide. Create was involved in generating the next generation science standards. I was the lead writer for the physical science standards. Create provides workshops throughout the nation. We are currently involved in trying to create professional development materials that teacher leaders throughout our nation can use.
Michigan State University's mission is to conduct research, teach students, both undergraduate and graduate, and conduct outreach and engagement activities in the area, around the state, and around the world. And Create for STEM fulfills all three of those.
Working with school districts within our state, but also within our nation, both in trying to have them implement materials that align with the next generation of science standards, as well as introducing them to the next generation of science standards.
The Create for STEM Institute helped to plan and then sponsored the big introduction meeting where over 900 teachers came to hear about the NGSS and sort of get their feet wet in thinking about what it would mean to implement them. And they continue to work with us and we with them to be able to develop resources to help people understand what the standards ask for and to start thinking about what they actually look like in practice.
The Create for STEM Institute has a major impact on Michigan. Everything that Create for STEM stands for is embodied in all of the current research that exists. And in addition to that, they are also conducting new research on how to implement these standards, how to assess these standards, and what kinds of professional development materials will be available for not only district and county leaders to use with teachers, but also that teachers can use in small groups working together collaboratively.
The Create for STEM Institute has invested deeply in improving K-12 education and undergraduate education. Having this K through undergraduate and even graduate education focus, I think, is essential if we really want to think about supporting youth from all backgrounds in pursuing STEM trajectories.
The work I'm doing right now is developing an integrated science, oral language, and literacy curriculum. It's called Solid Start, and it's for kindergarten. So the goal of our work is to get science to our very youngest learners. The purpose of our project is to build a curriculum that meets the next generation science standards and meets the Common Core state standards for English language arts, and really bundle those together in a way that creates integrated lessons for kindergarten. So our hope is that we'll really get science to our youngest learners, but also we'll do it in a way that still meets the needs of what they need to learn at that young age, which is their literacy development.
I think one of the most exciting things about Create for STEM is how it fosters interdisciplinary dialogue. And so, I am a science education researcher, and I typically work with engineers, but I haven't necessarily worked with researchers and practitioners in the College of Natural Science. And so fostering really interdisciplinary dialogue, I think, is one way to enrich the research agenda.
If you're really going to solve these challenging problems that face education, it's just not going to be a person who has a background in educational theory. You're going to have to work with practitioners in the classroom. You're going to have to work with scientists and mathematicians. You're going to have to work with practicing teachers. You're going to have to work with administrators. It's that collective knowledge, that collective understanding that's going to be able to solve those problems.
We can never teach kids all the information about science that exists, but we can teach them how to think about science. We can teach them how to learn science by themselves. And we can teach them that process of being a lifelong learner of science by doing science.
I see the future of Create for STEM as continuing along that effort, really to push our nation to really try to create a next generation of science students who can really use their knowledge to solve problems and explain phenomena.